Kingdom with Michael talking about TaylorMade's new TP5 and TP5x golf balls. They're a 5-layer golf ball, and Mike's going to give us some information.
Great. Well, Dean, thanks so much for having me. The new TP5 and TP5x golf ball for us is a product that really was about creating no compromise in the category that golfers really are forced to choose. You see out there, you see spin balls and distance balls, soft balls and straight balls. We really wanted to just create one product which really did everything for golfers. And the reason we can do that is because we have 5 layers and we're the only 5-layer tour ball. And what we've really ended up creating is nothing short of the most complete tour ball in the world. And when I say that, what I mean is a product that truly has no one longer than us with no one better from inside 100 yards. And that's what we're able to create. And the way we're able to do that is really all starts with 5 layers.
So what does a 5-layer ball do for not just the tour player, but for the everyday golfer, the weekend golfer out there?
So that's a fantastic question. It's one I probably get more than anything, is because a lot of golf balls, a lot of tour golf balls you hear is, hey, they're only for tour players. You need a certain amount of swing speed to get to the core to see all the speed benefits. The TP5 and TP5X golf ball all starts with an extra large, super low compression core. So you see how big the core is? It's about the size of a quarter, maybe a half. I haven't seen a 50-cent piece in a while, but I assume that's what it looks like. But the point is, to get to the core of this product and start seeing all the distance benefits, you only need a 70-mile-an-hour club head speed.
Okay.
So 70 miles an hour is women, seniors, basically everybody. And even when I say everybody, it's on down to your 7-iron, 8-iron, 9-iron, and pitching wedge. And the way the 5-piece construction works is it's really split into 2 separate concepts. You have your tri-fast core, which is all about distance, which takes 70 miles an hour to get to, and you have your dual spin cover, which is the 2 outer layers for our cover system, which is for under 70 miles an hour. So the tri-fast core is all about taking off unwanted spin. The dual spin cover is all about maximizing greenside spin. And it really splits out that way, and that's how we're able to do it.
Okay, now the 5-layer concept, it's nothing new to TaylorMade, because we did have the Penta golf ball a handful of years ago. That was also 5 layers.
Yep.
So what is the difference between the construction of that golf ball to these new balls?
Yeah, so it's a great question. This product for us has truly been 10 years in the making. TaylorMade first patented 5-layer technology back in 2007. 2017, 10 years. We first released Penta back in 2009. And when we released Penta, it was to make each shot in the bag a little bit better. But with Penta, the way the progression of the 5 layers worked is your inner core was in the 40 compressions and your outer core was your outer mantle was in the 80s and 90s compressions. Okay. So not a very big dispersion between the two. So what happens is you kind of have to pick a midpoint to make each shot a little bit better. This new product with the TP5 and TP5X has a core compression at 16 and outer compression or outer mantle compression up at 90.
Okay.
So what happens is each layer performs very, very differently. So those changes in compression allow us really to split the product really in 2. So what we have is the inner 3 layers, which are really low compression, is what we call the tri-fast core. And what the tri-fast core allows you to do is when you come into contact with that super low compression, extra large core that you only need a 70-mile-an-hour club head speed to get to, when you come into contact with that super soft core, it's going to scrub off all unwanted spin. Okay? Low compression equals lower spin. But what we can do that other people can't, or we weren't able to do with our Penta, is the 3 layers all build on each other because they get a little firmer in compression, a little less flexible. So they build on each other to maximize velocity. If you just had a low compression core, the ball would be slow. So when we had Penta, we couldn't go that low with compression because we worried about maintaining speed. But with the knowledge that we've learned, we've been able to fully decouple the product into our distance shots, everything over a 9-iron, and our wedge shots, really everything under that. And that's what we've been able to do is grow the product to be able to really decouple the distance in the spin shots versus Penta, which really was just trying to help everything a little bit and making compromises on what you're going to do.
And besides compression differences between the 2 new balls, the TP5 and the TP5X, what are the general differences that a golfer is going to see who has both of them out and testing them out?
Man, you're getting all the good questions today. This is great. So it's funny, like I said, when we started, the golf ball category is typically about compromise. And that's just not what we do. We're going to push performance as far as we possibly can. That's what we've really seen with the TP5 and TP5X golf balls. When you talk about compromise, typically when you see out there, you have 2 choices. You have your distance ball and you have your soft ball. You have your straight ball and you have your tour ball, which I said before. The TP5 and TP5x are both 5 layers, which is different for us. They're both great from inside 100 yards. They're both longer. The only thing the golfer really needs to choose between is feel, which is a preference thing. We don't want to make golfers have to choose between performance benefits. Everyone wants to hit it longer, and everyone wants great performance from inside 100 yards. And if to get to that it takes 5 layers, you get all of those 3 things with both of these products. If you really want to get into it, the TP5 launches a touch lower. And honestly, the TP5X is what we see is about a yard longer because it's a slightly 1 to 2 yards depending on who you are, because it's slightly harder compression, so it creates a little bit more resistance. But for the most part, they're pretty negligible. Both are 5 layers, both are longer, and both are great inside 100 yards. And when I say longer, I mean noticeably and legally longer.
And they're new for 2017. So how about the tour adoption rate already for them?
Man, the tour adoption rate's been like nothing we've ever seen. Forget just tour adoption, just tour success. I mean, we had 4 wins in 4 weeks with the new TP5 and TP5X golf ball. And for the first time, we had both of them winning. We had John Rahm and Dustin Johnson winning with the TP5X and Sergio Garcia winning with the TP5. But typically the golf ball is the hardest product for a tour player to switch into. And the reason is because you're changing all these other products, you don't know what's creating what type of performance changes. So when, let's say you're being fit into new irons, a new driver, and your spin changes or your launch changes, well, is it the clubs or is it the ball? So typically you wait for all your clubs to change and then you change into a ball. But honestly, we had these products on tour for less than just a couple weeks, and we had almost 100% adoption immediately. We had almost 100% adoption 2 months before the product even shipped. The best story we possibly had was with John Rahm, and not just that he won, the fact that he's even playing it. So an insight to your viewers and your site people out there is when we signed John Rahm last year, he was a huge sign for us. He was a big sign. He's one of the first few amateurs to earn first players to win his tour card through sponsors exemptions. So when we signed him, he said, hey, guys, I'd love to play your drivers and play your clubs and wear your shoes and wear your hat, but I got one exception. And we said, what? He goes, I don't want to play your golf ball right away. And we said, no problem. We want you on our team. No pressure. Play it when you have to. So we put in his contract. He doesn't have to play our ball in 2017, and then we talk about it after that. So we see John Rahm at our photo shoot after the Barclays last summer, and we introduced ourselves at the photo shoot. I said, hey, I'm the head of category. I'm with the head of R&D. Hopefully you guys might have seen the video out there. And he said, almost a little defensive, he's like, oh, you're the ones who are going to try and get me to change into the new ball. We said, hey, man, we're just here as your equipment sponsor.
Threw down the challenge.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He was almost like a little like, hey, it's not my contract. I don't have to do this. But he was a little defensive almost. And we're like, hey, we're just here as your equipment sponsor to know what's available to you and what's going to be the toughest field in the world. And he said, well, heck, if you can make me hit it further and straighter, I got no problem changing. And I said, okay, we can do that. And he said, I was kidding. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. And it was amazing. We have some commercials running because the thing was so good. And the testing videos on long format that you can find online. But, I mean, he loved the product. He was just blown away with the type of distance gains and performance he was seeing out of the product because he's only ever played Pro V1X his entire life. And the fact that inside 2 weeks on tour, he switches into the new ball and wins with it is amazing.
Yeah, it's big.
And when we talked to him afterwards, he came down here. What he kept saying is, the first week I played with it, I took my normal lines expecting the wind to take it a little bit. And I took my normal distance gaps. And I was a little long and I was a little off because the wind wasn't touching at all. And at Torrey, I just took everything right at the pin and I clubbed down. And I mean, I was all over it all day. I mean, it was really spectacular.